Our next speaker is Stuart Cook. He's the CEO of Zambrero, Australia's fastest growing franchise, BRW 2011 and 2012. Since being appointed CEO just before his 25th birthday, you don't even look 24, mate. You sure? Stuart has grown the company from 1 million to over 20 million, now employing more than 400 people. Have any of you eaten there? Yeah, exactly. You haven't tried. More customers, mate. More customers. Stuart is aiming to bring Zambrero to 100 stores by 2014. In 2010, Zambrero was the social responsible franchisor of the year, My Business Magazine, Best Retailer, and ACT's Emerging Entrepreneur. There's a lot of words here, man. A lot of awards. It's a shitload of awards. Stuart is also non-executive director of Entourage, Australia's leading provider of young entrepreneurial education. Mate, thank you very much for joining us. Wonderful to have you here. Thanks. Just on the right side, guys. Thanks.
Good evening, all. And so I'd like to thank everybody for having me tonight. It's a real honour to be here, and I've only grown our business really incredibly by being in the audience of many different places before. So it is always good to learn, and it's great to even do a bit of self-reflection as well. And this will be very interesting because timing in 20 seconds is interesting. But in the last 3 years, we've had a huge growth, $1 to $23 million turnover. We did it entirely debt-free. We started with $13,000. We had a lot of fun. We had some pain, but it's been one hell of an adventure. So we've gone from being an ACT only to now all across the country and looking at overseas in the next year. So I wanted to go through some of the things where I've learnt by making mistakes. I've been lucky enough to not make a lot of mistakes because of the wisdom around me. But the number one thing that I keep on going back to, if I was to tell myself a piece of advice, is about getting financial literacy and educating yourself. I think too many people just focus on being great at what they do, a great technician, a great bike rider, for example. But unless you know about what makes your business work, especially if you're a debt-free entity, it's really, really hard. So understanding your cash flow, what does that mean? These are all words that accountants use, and you usually don't like accountants. But they are really, really the essence of your business, and including getting to know and love thy Excel. Okay, so it is very, very important. But again, it's something that we learned a little bit too late as well, and did have some huge growing pains. We got through them, but again, we'd be a lot even further along in our business careers and our trajectory if we had learned to master those. But number two is understanding people. Getting the right people around you, I think, is number two, apart from financial literacy and educating yourself. And in the next stage, I'll talk to you about different things, but getting those right people will really make or break your industry and your sector and your company. So they say that you're the average of the 5 closest people around you. And I really, really hold true to that manner. So, I mean, making sure that everywhere in your life that you're always looking at who are the 5 closest people, because if you're the average of the 5 closest people and they're all smarter than you, then you're going to become smarter. If they're all dumber, sorry to use that word, then you're going to be dumber. And that goes for your friends as well. So I've had friends that I've lost because of going into business, because they don't understand and know what I'm going through. They say, why are you working so hard? You're a business owner, so you obviously make a lot of money, so you should buy all the drinks tonight. So, people don't realize that that's the case. So by surrounding yourself with people who are encouraging you and growing your business as well. But this was me when I started. So I was 23-year-old. I'd never worked in food before. I'd only worked in Billabong on George Street selling board shorts to backpackers. So I didn't know what I was doing. So what I did is I started going around and I started Googling, and then I realized that I needed to surround myself with people, going back to that rule, of people who are a lot smarter than me. So being the average of the 5 people closest to me. So I went and wanted to get some mentors. People who've done it before, people who've had great successes, because I wanted to learn from their successes, their failures, because you know what, even in people's failures, I guarantee that they can tell you exactly what went wrong, but not necessarily people can tell you always why it went right. So I took out 70 CEOs of the fastest growing franchise chains in the country to coffee or lunch. Do you know how many people said no to me because I asked? 0. Okay? How many people have done that? So I went out and did that. And so now I wanted to talk a little bit about how you actually go about and get those mentors, because this was one of the keys. First off, you have to be likable. okay? And that was one of the cutest pictures I could find. Because again, you're using up their time. They're very, very busy people. They've got a lot of things on. And if they're not busy, it means you're probably picking the wrong person because they haven't done it before. You have to be memorable as well. And everyone remember the Stephen Bradbury going across the line. I think that has to be one of the most memorable sporting moments in history. But for these people who are the CEOs of large companies, and again, who might be creating organizations that are far bigger than you, are going to meet a lot of people. So you need to start thinking about how you engage them so they remember you in the years to come. And so I think going back to some of the old school different ways of etiquette is sometimes now considered very obsolete. So, common courtesy, chivalry, standing up for people and letting people who are your elders sit down on buses and things, I think is lost. But now it is considered exceptional if you actually do that. So every time that I actually meet a mentor and somebody who inspires me, I actually write them a handwritten note. So if you send them that, you send it by snail mail, you usually get it past their executive assistant because it is personal. And you know what? Throwing a handwritten note away rather than an email is a lot harder to do. And in the mail, you usually only get bills or bad things. So it's good to get something like that as well. And one big lesson as well is you never ask the question, will you be my mentor? Okay, it's like asking for somebody's hand in marriage first date. Okay, it's a big commitment. But if you don't ask, you usually actually get. So there is a motto out there, if you don't ask, you don't get. But in this case, in my experience, that by not asking, I've usually had, and sticking to the likable, being memorable, and not asking, but also being positive as well. I think, again, not only with your mentors and having a lot of fun, but looking at solutions rather than problems. In our business, I try and stamp out the word problem. I've got a problem, I've got a problem. It's I've got a challenge. And I'm going to be excited about how I can overcome it. So that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, and that by accepting it as a challenge, you can always laugh rather than cry, I think has been a motto also about small business as well. And we've definitely had those challenges along the way. But you have to have fun. You have to laugh at your mistakes. And again, really debrief yourself and your team over the failures that you've had, and then laugh about them in the future. I'm going through a moment at the moment where I've already said to my financial controller, we're going to look at this day and we're going to laugh about it in a few years because it's not as fun. So hopefully that's a little bit of insight about my last few years in business, and I congratulate all of you because I think you guys are going to get further than the majority of people, because the majority of business owners aren't going out there and getting self-educated, and I think it's that self-education and surrounding yourself with like-minded people that will truly get you in as a successful business person. Thanks.